You sacrificed your own needs to show her that you cared, but all you received in return was a cold shoulder or silence. Worse, outright rejection hurts. Men often receive advice to man up, conceal our emotions, and proceed without hesitation. But that rejection stays with us. It eats away at our confidence, leaving us wondering if we're not talented enough or if we made a mistake somewhere. These thoughts keep coming back, pulling us into a cycle of self-doubt. After rejection, most men tend to pursue, text, call, and attempt to rekindle the flames of their lost relationship. Chasing makes things worse because it takes away your power and makes you think that your worth rests on other people's approval. What if I told you there's a better way to get your confidence, dignity, and sense of self-worth back? The answer is to be quiet. If you stop chasing her and disappear from her life, something amazing starts to happen. She starts to notice and feel your absence, and slowly the dynamics shift. Our topic today is why silence is a man's ultimate power move, and how it changes you and the situation. Are you ready to take back control? Let's go. She probably won't even blink at first. Her life without you might feel like a relief, a chance to enjoy the room she's been sure she needed. Why does this happen? She perceives you as a constant presence in her thoughts. She perceives your attention, efforts, and consistency as a constant presence that she can take for granted. Your silence doesn't feel like a loss. Rather, it feels like a temporary change, as she is confident that you will return, as you always have. During this stage, she might even convince herself that letting you go was the right thing to do. She tells herself that she's free and can focus on her own life without your care. She then spends her time with friends, posting pictures on social media, or having shallow conversations. At first glance, she appears unaffected or even doing well, but beware, for many men, this is the quiet before the storm. This is the most challenging aspect, as witnessing her appear indifferent or even joyous can be a devastating blow. It's tempting to tell her you're there, but most men let their emotions take over and say something. Are you not receiving the approval you desire? Avoid falling into this trap. Your silence isn't about how she will respond. It's about taking back your power. Stoicism advises taking charge of what we can and letting go of the rest. Right now, you can't change the fact that she doesn't care, but you can change how you react to it. This is your chance to focus on yourself instead of her lack of response and use that energy to grow. Go to the gym. Get better at something. Get back in touch with family and friends. Over the next few days, she may still be sure of her decision, but she's starting to see cracks in the surface. She doesn't realize it yet, but the lack of your presence is starting to set in, and while she's busy enjoying her supposed freedom, she's planting the seeds of regret. At first, she may not have noticed your silence, but it's working. It's giving her the space to experience life without you, a life she thought she wanted, and while she may not realize it yet, that space is beginning to feel emptier than she expected. For now, your role is simple. Keep quiet, follow your rules, and keep your mind on yourself. This stage isn't about her, it's about you. A man who doesn't plead, beg, or chase is a man who commands respect. As long as you hold firm, the balance will start to shift in ways you can't see yet. Remember that her initial lack of interest isn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning. Your quiet is not an absence. It's a statement that says, I know my worth, and I won't settle for less. Your silence will affect you later, so stay strong. The journey has just begun. Phase 2. The first signs of being empty. She may not notice the silence because her life goes on as if your absence doesn't affect her, but as time goes on, something subtle starts to change. It's not big or obvious, but it's there, the first signs of emptiness creeping into her world. She no longer sees your name pop up on her phone with a good morning text. The balls that once brightened her day have vanished, and the thoughtful gestures she once dismissed now seem like a distant memory. At first, she doesn't think much of it. She keeps telling herself, "I'll hear from him eventually." But there's a small voice inside her head that says, "No." The power of your silence is that it's not loud or confrontational. It's steady and quiet, like a shadow in the background that gets bigger over time. As it gets bigger, so does the space you used to occupy in her life. What she thought was a temporary pause now feels more permanent, and it's in this permanence that the first cracks start to appear. She begins to notice the void in her daily routine when she instinctively picks up her phone and discovers no message from you. It's the small reminders of you, such as a song playing on the radio or a place you used to visit together, that bring back memories of you. She thought she was past these small things, but they're the start of something much bigger. At this point, she won't admit it, not to herself and not to anyone else. On the outside, she might still act like everything is fine. She'll post pictures, hang out with friends, and do things to take her mind off of things. But behind the smiles and carefully chosen social media posts, there's a growing sense of unease. She doesn't fully understand it yet, but she feels it. No matter what she does for you, a quiet emptiness remains. This stage is a test of your patience. It's tempting to break the silence, especially if you think she's starting to miss you, but remember that your silence has an effect on her because it's consistent. If you reach out now, you risk undoing all the progress you've made. Now is the time to stay strong and believe in the process. Being stoic means embracing discomfort as a necessary part of growth. Right now, the silence is putting a strain on both of you in different ways. What hurts her is realizing that life without you isn't as fulfilling as she thought. For you, it's the challenge of resisting the urge to seek validation. However, it is precisely this discomfort that leads to transformation for both of you. As the days pass, the signs of emptiness become harder for her to ignore. She might try to fill the void with distractions, going on dates, engaging in small talk, or even seeing other people doesn't work for her. Small talk cannot compensate for the fact that you aren't present. It goes deeper than that, and the more she tries to avoid it, the stronger her feelings become for you. This is where discipline becomes crucial. Use this time to focus on your own goals, hobbies, and personal growth. Instead of waiting for her to notice your absence, demonstrate to yourself your strength and ability to succeed without her approval. Every day you stay silent is a day you invest in your own future. The initial indications of emptiness may appear minor, yet they hold immense power. They signify her realization that she has lost more than just a caring person. She has lost someone irreplaceable. And as those signs get stronger, so does the effect of your silence. Stay calm, stay focused, and remember that the emptiness she's feeling is the start of a lesson she didn't know she needed. For you, it's a reminder that your silence isn't just a reaction, it's a statement of your strength and self-worth. Phase 3. Growing uncomfort and insecurity. The silence you've created begins to captivate her. What used to feel like freedom, a break from your presence, begins to feel unsettling. The more she tries to ignore it, the more it creeps into her thoughts. At first, it's subtle. She finds herself wondering why you haven't reached out. She tells herself it's not a big deal, you're probably busy, or that you'll come back eventually, like always. But deep down, her faith in your return starts to waver. The silence is no longer just a break in her routine. It's a mirror that shows the choices she made, and it's making her question herself. This discomfort is most noticeable in the quiet moments. She realizes something is missing when she's scrolling through her phone or when she's out with friends. These realizations don't happen all at once. They happen over time, like water slowly filling a glass. Each day the glass gets closer to overflowing, and she might try to distract herself by going to social events, working, or making new connections. But no matter how busy she is, the void will always be there. Still, the distractions are only brief. Band-aids can't cover the deeper wound that your silence has caused. She no longer receives the stability, care, and attention you once provided, and nothing she does seems to fill that void. For someone new to your life, this stage is especially hard. She may have thought she could move on without thinking twice about her choice to distance herself from you, but now she's starting to feel the weight of that decision. Every time she talks to someone else or makes a connection, it makes her miss you even more. She compares other people to you, both consciously and emotionally, which rarely benefits the longer-term friend. The pain goes even deeper. She thought she could take your absence for granted, that no matter how far away you became, you would always be there for her. But as the silence grows, she realizes she was wrong. The life she thought would feel freeing without you now feels heavier, colder, and more alone. The absence she used to brush off as unimportant has become a weight she can't ignore on your side. At this point, there is both a test and a chance. The pain she's feeling is a natural result of the limits you've set. You're not punishing her, you're reclaiming your time, energy, and sense of self-worth. While she's dealing with her discomfort, you can focus on what really matters: your growth. Stoicism reminds us that discomfort is an important part of growth because it forces us to face our weaknesses and challenges us to rise above them. Right now, her discomfort is teaching her the value of what she lost, while your discipline is making you a stronger, more confident man. During this stage, it's important to resist the urge to break the silence. You might want to check in to see how she's doing or announce your presence, but doing so would undo your progress. Your silence is working on both of you, teaching you patience, self-control, and the power of letting go. As the days turn into weeks, her discomfort will become something she can't escape. She'll be thinking about you more and more, wondering what you're up to and if you've moved on. She will struggle to ignore the possibility that she may have lost you forever each day. This stage is a reminder of how far you've come. You are no longer the man who begged, pleaded, or chased at the start of this journey. Your silence is so powerful because you've transformed into a person who values himself enough to leave situations where others don't respect or appreciate him. The pain she's feeling now is just the start. It's the first step toward her realizing what she let go of, and it shows how much of an effect you've had on her life. Stay strong, stay disciplined, and trust the process, because this pain isn't just a result of her choices, it's also a result of your growth. As Phase 4, failed attempts to fill the void, continues, the void you left behind becomes harder for her to ignore. What started as a mild discomfort has turned into a persistent ache, and she realizes she needs to do something about it. She wants to fill the void, but it's hard because what she wants isn't easily replaceable. She starts with distractions, like going out with friends, picking up a new hobby, or scrolling endlessly on her phone. These activities might seem to help for a short time, but they only do so much. Escape from the silence is a way to stop thinking about what's missing, but it can only take you so far. The blank is still there, waiting for you in the quiet moments. When she's by herself with her thoughts, she eventually tries to fill the void with new connections. She might begin dating again, engage in new conversations, or reconnect with an old romantic partner. On the surface, it might look like she's moving on, but these attempts often fail because what she's really looking for isn't just another relationship. She's looking for the depth, stability, and authenticity that you brought to her life. No matter how hard she tries, she can't find those things. The people she meets might seem exciting or intriguing at first, but over time she starts to notice the differences. They don't understand her like you did. They miss the little things you always remembered, or the conversations lack the depth she used to take for granted. For someone who is new to your life, this stage can be especially eye-opening. She may have thought you were replaceable and that another man could step into your role without a second thought. But now she's starting to see that what you offered wasn't normal. It was rare, and every failed attempt to copy it only makes what she lost more valuable. A longer-term partner may find this stage frustrating. Deeper down, she believed she could explore other options, keeping you as a backup plan in case things didn't work out. But now that the silence persists, she must confront the reality that you are no longer waiting. The shallow connections she thought would replace you don't offer the loyalty, understanding, or emotional depth you did. Internal conflict often characterizes this stage. She may question whether she made the right decision by letting you go, whether she was too quick to move on, and whether she underestimated him. These questions keep coming up, getting louder with each failed attempt to fill the hole. While she struggles with her doubts, you're getting stronger, more confident, and more sure of yourself. For you, this is a significant turning point. It's easy to assume that someone else is doing what you used to do for her, especially if they're the one she's choosing now. However, keep in mind that the value you brought to her life is irreplaceable. The only thing you can change is your mind, so Stoicism advises us to focus on that. Stop comparing yourself to others and work on becoming the man you've always wanted to be. As her anger grows, she becomes more aware of what she's letting slip away. She starts to realize that the people she's meeting don't live up to the standard you set. They don't give her the same sense of security, understanding, or connection, and with each failed attempt, the void you left behind feels bigger, more significant, and more permanent for her. This stage humbles her by showing her that not all connections are equal, and that her relationship with you wasn't as replaceable as she thought. Maintaining silence and focusing on your growth shows her and yourself that you're not just another option, which empowers you. You're someone who gets respect and makes an impression that lasts after this time is over. Her anger turns into deeper regret, but for you, it's a win because you stayed true to yourself, fought the urge to chase, and showed that your worth isn't based on what other people think of you. Now is the time to keep going because the best is yet to come. Phase 5. Can't help it. The growing force of regret. It doesn't happen all at once. It builds over time as she realizes more about what she let go. By now, she's dealt with the pain of your absence and the frustration of failed attempts to replace you. Now she has to face the truth. She made a mistake. At first, her regret shows up in quiet moments, when she thinks about how you always made her feel seen, valued, and supported. The small acts of kindness, the inside jokes, the way you seem to understand her in ways others never could. Each memory is like a thread weaving together a picture of what she had and what she lost, and the weight of that picture grows heavier. With each passing day, she might not admit it, not to herself, and certainly not to anyone else. But the regret is there. It's in the way she hesitates before sending a text, wondering if you'd even respond. It's in the way she looks through old photos or scrolls back through messages, searching traces of the connection she once took for granted. These actions might seem small, but they're driven by a much deeper realization. She let go of something rare, something valuable, and she might never find it again for someone who was new in your life. This stage can be particularly humbling. She might have thought she could move on without a second thought, that letting you go was just another decision in a long list of choices. But now she's starting to see that what she lost wasn't ordinary. It wasn't just another fleeting connection. It was something that brought meaning and stability to her life. And that's not something she can easily replace for someone who had been in your life longer than the regret. Even more deeply, she thought she knew you and understood your worth. But now that the silence has grown, she realizes she was wrong. The life she thought would be complete without you now feels empty, and that emptiness is a constant reminder of the mistake she made on your behalf. This stage is a test of your growth. She feels sorrow not because of what you did, but because of the choices she made. Stoicism teaches us to let go of things we can't change, and her regret is one of those things. It's not your job to fix it or make her feel better. That's her burden to carry. As her regret grows, she may feel compelled to reach out. She might begin with a casual message to gauge the situation, or she might express her regret in a more vulnerable manner. No matter how she says it, the message is the same. She knows what she lost, but this is the key. Her regret is not the purpose of your silence. It is merely a consequence. The point was always to regain your power, your confidence, and your sense of self-worth. This is where many men have trouble when she talks about her regret. It's tempting to rush back because it feels reassuring to hear someone recognize your worth, but keep in mind that this isn't about her approval. It's about maintaining the boundaries and strength you've built during this process. If you do decide to engage, do so on your own terms, not hers, because her regret is a powerful teacher. It forces her to face the consequences of her actions and the reality of what she lost for you. It's a reminder of your growth. The man who might have pushed, begged, or pleaded for attention is no longer here. You've changed into someone who knows his worth and doesn't settle for less than he deserves. As this stage comes to a close, she feels the worst regret and wonders if she'll ever find someone like you again. If she has indeed severed the connection, she desires its removal. For you, it's a moment of clarity, a chance to see how far you've come and how strong you've become through this trip. She may experience sorrow, but for you, it's an opportunity to move forward. It shows that your quiet wasn't just strong, it changed things. So stand tall, hold fast, and remember that you've already won this. Taking back your power wasn't just about her. It was about finding your strength again, reclaiming your self-worth, and showing yourself that you don't need anyone else's approval to feel whole. Your silence wasn't a punishment or a strategy. It was an act of self-respect. You told her, "I know my worth and I won't settle for less." By doing this, you've shown her, and most importantly, yourself, that you're not just a choice. You set the bar. It wasn't empty. It was full of power, growth, and change. While she was dealing with pain, frustration, and regret, you were building a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. Stoicism teaches us to focus only on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and growth. Everything else, her feelings, choices, and regrets, is out of your control, and that's okay. By letting go of what you can't control, you freed yourself from the weight of her approval and found your own strength. So what do you do now? You move forward. Whether she reaches out or stays quiet, whether she regrets her choices or not, none of that determines your worth. You've become a stronger man through this process, which shows that you can thrive despite what she did. That's an insurmountable victory. This is your story now. It's not about chasing someone who didn't see your value. It's about becoming someone who doesn't need to chase you. You've grown, you've endured, and you've emerged stronger. As you continue on this path, remember that your silence wasn't just an absence. It was the loudest statement you could make. If this journey speaks to you, take a moment to think about how far you've come. Click the like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it and follow for more insights. Also, Tell me in the comments what your silence means to you. Let's keep building our strength together, one step at a time.